Good morning and welcome to the Hobby Breakfast Show. This is a tournament preview. We haven't actually done one of these for like 6 months now, but we do actually go to tournaments. I'm joined today by a whole menagerie of characters. I'm joined by Mare,
Hello, everyone.
Sebastian,
Hello.
and Chef.
Hello.
There we go. Perfect. That was actually the first attempt, believe it or not. And today we're going to be talking about a GBHL 90 tournament that we will be going to tomorrow, I guess, when this is released on Friday. It's 600 points, and it's a two-dayer. So we've got, I think, is it 6 games we've got?
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be, that 6th game is going to be absolutely exhausting. But yeah, looking forward to it. And then, so what's special about this one is there is a special rule called Master Burglar, which is really quite wordy, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to sum it up. I think I might read the whole thing out and then just
read it.
Yeah. So basically, there's a hoard of treasure. There's 2 piles of treasure set up on the board. During your move phase, if you're within 1 inch of a treasure pile, they can elect to try and take control of it, basically. You roll a d6. On a result of a 1, you've been ensnared and you're transfixed. 2 to 3, they failed to steal it and nothing else happens. On a 4 to 6, they successfully capture the treasure pile, and you're going to put a marker on the pile to indicate you control the hoard.
I think we're assuming that it's going to be a 25mm marker, aren't we?
Yeah, rather than like a 40mm.
An actual pile of gold. Yeah.
It's like Smaug's base. No. After that, the opposing player can try to take control of the pile by doing the same thing, and on a successful roll, they can steal it back. So I'm assuming it could happen multiple times a turn, couldn't it? Because if you take control and then somebody else takes it back, it could swap within a single turn. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it doesn't say you can only do it with a single model. It just says during the controlling player's move phase, model within 1 inch. So unless later on, actually, yeah,
Horde armies are going to be so good for this.
Well,
You've got like 40 goblins to try.
When you read the rest of it, I think there might be some limitations.
Okay. So I'll read the limitations. A model may only ever attempt to steal the treasure if the following conditions are met. They are not in an opposing model's active control zone. So I guess you could just park a monster on top of it, and that would mean they wouldn't be able to take control of it. You can't be prone or paralyzed. You can't be in combat. You can't be transfixed or immobilized. They can't be mounted. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a bit like the sort of heirlooms.
Yeah, interesting. Wow.
Okay, the next one's the main one.
Yeah. Each player may only attempt to control each treasure pile once per turn.
There you go.
Okay, the player that controls the most treasure piles gains an extra tournament point, but there's only 2, so it could hypothetically be a draw. I guess that in that case nobody gets it. The player with the most claimed piles during the tournament will win the Master Burglar prize. I'm assuming you can't use might on this. Do you think you can use might on this?
It's not a dual roll or a wound roll, so no,
you can't.
No. Okay, interesting. I'm assuming there might be some weird interactions with it that might come up throughout the tourney, but yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think as long as the strategy is probably going to be to get beyond the treasure pile to stop your opponent getting from it, and then just trying to protect it like you would an objective marker, I suppose. You could even try and just fight your opponent and then swoop in at the last moment as if you're playing a very defensive game of domination and trying to move out onto the map at the end of the game.
I'm assuming, does it say how the games are going to be picked, or are they just...
So it's picked as per the match play guide. So it's 6 games, there are 6 pools. So we'll be rolling as if it were, we were doing it properly on the match play guide. So each pool will have 1 game come out of it, which means we'll definitely be playing a killy scenario and each of the other categories.
Yeah. So that's not per player, is it? That will be assigned by the TO. He'll say, like, we're playing, like, domination or whatever.
Yeah, so every round, I believe it will be the same.
Okay, so that at least maybe nerfs Goblin Town a little bit, because you might get a couple of shit scenarios out of that at least.
We haven't got to the list yet. I might not be taking Goblin Town. You never know.
Okay. I mean, it is your signature move.
I am taking Goblin Town, but,
but how
I
dare
do
you
appreciate this assumption you've made.
Yeah.
No, but also I'm assuming that does the match play guy say that you do it in order? So the first pool is obviously the killy one. My assumption is that takes place first, as opposed to it being random. Is that right? Have I got that right?
I don't think it's in a particular order from memory.
Okay, so it might be that
randomized.
Because I'd personally obviously prefer that that's the first game.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we'll get onto strategy later.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Cool, but yeah, that's basically how it's going to work. There's prizes for loads of things. There'll be, I think, obviously not everybody gets a prize. It's not exactly like that, but there's prizes for top 3, best painted evil and good, which is nice. Master burglar, so whoever steals the most treasures get the master burglar prize. Sporting player, and then wooden spoon, which is nice. Yeah, I guess we'll move on to talking about lists now. Would anybody particularly like to go first, or am I just going to pick a name out of the hat?
I think either Chef or Sebastian should go first as their guests.
Okay, I'm going to make Sebastian go first.
Oh, all right then. So, I mean, I'm just looking at my list now, and I'm kind of regretting some decisions based on the fact I didn't read the tournament.
He's not even started yet, and he's already regretting it.
So I've been quite busy hobbying and painting new elves, because I now have each of the factions of elves, and this time I've tried to go for the Mirkwood Ranger Legendary Legion. It's got 26 models, which is not too bad, but it was a little bit fiddly trying to get the correct ratio of models to heroes. And it started with Legolas, of course, with an Elven Cloak. I have 8 Mirkwood Rangers, 1 Wood Elf Sentinel. In the next warband, it is, of course, Tariel with her bow, and 9 Mirkwood Rangers. And then for a third warband, to get some extra might in there, I have gone for the Mirkwood Ranger Captain and 5 more Mirkwood Rangers. So, yeah, 26 bows. Obviously, could go up to 29 shots with Legolas.
You've got more shots than models.
Yes, I have more shots than models. Which is a little bit outrageous, but yeah, I mean, it's a very flimsy list. I've only play tested it twice in a couple of friendlies. It's done okay. I mean, it's not lost yet. But
that's a good sign.
Both of the scenarios that I played were not objective-based scenarios, so I think that was a little bit skewed in terms of reflection on how I think it will actually do with a tournament. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about this treasure thing now, because I've got no march, no fast-moving models, and the whole idea of the list is to camp as much as possible, do as many wounds to even the odds before combat, and even then things are a little bit dicey because they're defense 3 everywhere. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but that's my list.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds bad, but I really hope I don't come up against you. I think I mean, not specifically my list, but I think just in general, there are some matchups that will be quite heavily favoured towards you. Your massed shooting with 3-up strength 3 bows could be really strong against quite a few armies, which is nice. But you are, as you're saying, very much a glass cannon. Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, you'd probably be killing how many are hitting? 13, 14, half the moon. You're probably killing 7 or 8 goblins a turn, probably more with your shooting.
Goblin Town stands a chance, I don't think.
Ooh.
Although I did play more or less Sebastian's list at the tournament we went to in London, OT.
Yeah.
And I tabled him, so
so you never know.
Although, to be fair, we were playing oh god, what's the we were playing Heirlooms and I picked it up, so yeah, it's coming to me.
So the game was over.
Can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah.
We've not played in a tournament for a very long time. I think the last time we played in a tournament was it 40k? No, we must have played SPG tournament.
What do you mean in general?
We haven't played at a tournament against each other?
Oh, I see. Sorry, against each other. No. I think it was. No, I think it was 40k last time we played against each other.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Dark days.
A long time ago.
Right. Mayor, let's come on to your list then. What are you bringing?
Okay. So I am going Goblin Town. It might be a surprise. It's actually the exact same 600-point list as when I won the GBHL 90. If it ain't broke, but there's no vetoing this time. So I did have to consider the fact that I'd probably end up losing the Killy scenario, but I'm not too worried about that because I'm also not going for an absolute win this time. I'm not going to play too hard, he says. So we've got.
So you took a nice medium list like Goblin Town to play fairly.
I'm just so familiar with it at this point. Like it has just there's a lot less thinking involved on my part, so I can have a nicer time. Like I could pick a fluffier list that would be more difficult to play, more challenging, more engaging. But it's a 6-game weekend, and I just I didn't want to have to paint anything, and I didn't want to have to think too hard over the weekend. So I think my overall, I mean, I was just looking at the rankings. I sent you guys a picture. I didn't realize that I'm actually third. I'm not sure how that's happened because I don't have that many games. But I'm somehow third on long chance for MESBG behind Jake Rawson and Ed Ball, which is a bit weird. But I'm obviously top Goblin Town player, and I'm just going to try and keep that up, basically. So we've got Goblin King with 22 warriors and Golem. We've got Grinner with 12 warriors, a Captain with 12 warriors, the Scribe with 4 warriors, and then a Merc Captain with 12 mercenaries. They're more or less all going to have axes every game, and there'll be a fair few goblins coming on with axes and double-handed axes and stuff like that. We're not doing predictions yet, are we?
No, do that at the end.
So, I mean, I'm just familiar with it. High model count usually does quite well, and I just think I enjoy playing it. So I'm just going to keep playing it.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy it, that's absolutely fine. Like, you do you.
They're just a bit silly, but they're also quite good, and I quite like that about them.
Yep.
No, so that's mine.
That's fair enough. Right. Chef, let's come on to you. What are you bringing?
Yeah, similar to Mel, I'm taking a list that I've become fairly familiar with over the past year or so because I've used it quite a few times now. It's Defenders of Helm's Deep.
Nice.
So I've got 32 warriors in total. All the obvious heroes. So Theoden, Halef, Gamling. I don't think everyone takes Legolas, but for me, he's a bit of. I wouldn't not take him at 600 points, just for the fact that your hero's not got a lot of killing power in this list, and having Legolas able to shoot into like enemy leaders and heroes whilst they're still in combat is a major threat. So they're the heroes I've gone with, and then just a mixture of Royal Guard. I think I've got 8 of them in total, all with throw and spear. I've got 6 Galadriel with spear and bow, and then I think of just a smattering of regular Rohan warriors. So nothing too fancy, but it's a solid list. You know, you've got, if you play it well, you've got fight 5 across most of your battle line. With your Rohan Royal Guard and also with the elves, you've got plenty of shooting, that 30-inch range with the bows, and then plenty of throwing spears. So yeah, I've done pretty well with it. I think I've won far more games than I've lost with this list.
You're a bit of a menace with that list.
Sorry?
You're a bit of a menace with that list, I think. You're quite good with it.
Yeah, I think I've used it enough times, particularly against you in practice games, which has helped.
True.
I don't. Have we done? Yeah, we did a game, didn't we, with against Goblin Town? I think that was at 800 points, wasn't it? A practice game.
Yeah, I had the Spider Queen. I feel like I eventually won that, but you didn't. You could have played it much nastier than you did. But you were just being nice, I think.
I could have been very sweaty with the terrain, basically.
Yeah. Which I would fully expect you to do in a tournament. So I think it would be an interesting matchup in the tournament if we were to play each other.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fun list. I like the fact that it's got plenty of variety. I think also it looks quite nice on the table, even if you're not the best painter in the world, because having the elves and the royal guard on the board is always nice.
It's got a very nostalgic look to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I actually I don't utilize the list as well as I could, because what you'd really do is drop a couple of elves in each warband, but I just keep Legolas with the elves and then keep the Rohan guys separate, just because it feels a bit more fluffy that way.
Solid. Appreciate that choice.
Nice. Cool. I guess I'll do my list then, and then we can do some predictions. So my list is not super competitive, I've got to be honest, but it does have potential for, as I've found, outrageous amounts of bullshit. So I am bringing a Thorin's Company and Eagles Alliance. I'm bringing on the Eagle side Gwaihir and a Great Eagle. On the Thorin's Company side, I've got Thorin with the Oaken Shield and Orcrist on a pony. Dwalin on a pony.
You know this is a GBHL 90.
Yep. I've got Dwalin on a pony. I've got Nori or Dory, whichever one has 3 attacks, on a pony. And I've got Bilbo with Sting on a pony. Yeah, so my model count is 6. And I think it will be. Yeah, I don't have very high hopes. I think I'm struggling to think of any good matchups, if I'm being completely honest.
Killy scenario.
Yeah, I was about to say wound count probably isn't bad. It's also really hard to quarter me, because I think I have to have one model left, and normally you can keep either Thorin and an Eagle or Gwaihir and the Eagle alive or something. So
what if you're trying to 25% yourself though?
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, then I mean, I think Sebastian, I think you get too high a level here. Like that's not what this list is all about. But yeah, I mean, this list, a very similar list to this, took me to my only actually good tournament performance in a sort of fun Christmas tournament, which was quite nice. And yeah, I mean, essentially, I'm just praying for good dual rolls with the Eagles and with Dwalin, and if that happens, I'll probably do quite well. And if I fluff up even like a couple of rolls, I probably lose. So I don't know, it might actually end up being quite relaxing, because I may end up just getting tabled quite quickly and then can just relax.
Time to chill out.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my last
the Eagles are key there.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I think Gwaihir is one of the best models in the game, which obviously isn't anything new. Like, I don't think that's a particularly hot take, but like, I think in this list, it's just about trying to get maximum value from like the knockdown and the heroic and the monstrous power attacks from the Eagles. And like, I do actually wonder, because I don't have a third Eagle, but I wonder if it would be better to drop another member of Thorin's Company and bring in another Eagle or something. But yeah, we can always try that next time.
I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. As long as you don't mind potentially losing a few games.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, if I'm not prepared to lose a few games with this list, I shouldn't be bringing it, because like the problem is, like, I think with Eagles, even if you are very, very, very good, you do rely on just the dice rolls going in your favour, and in a smaller sample size, that is definitely possible. But I think over 6 games, there's just too much potential for a couple of the rolls to go badly, and yeah, then I just kind of lose.
Yeah. Should we do our prediction in reverse?
Yeah. I don't really know how we do this. Do we all do?
Are we all going to do a prediction?
I was about to say, I reckon we all go through and predict some. No. Let's do one person predicts for everybody, and then the next person predicts for everybody, because otherwise it'll get too confusing.
I feel like we should all predict for each person one at a time. Because
really? That's going to take forever.
Well, no, because we just go you, and we all say
okay.
what we think you're.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay, right.
Let's keep on track.
So you do yourself first, OT.
Yeah, we. Why am I going first? We started.
Well, we're doing reverse order.
Okay. I think I will go 2 and 4.
Fair. I think you will also go 2 and 4. I think that's yeah.
Boo.
Well, it's better than 1 and 4, which was my first instinct.
1 and 4, just miss out a game.
1 and 5.
Rude.
I'm gonna say 1-1-4.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I was thinking that's well, but I don't see how that. I think that list it's very much win or lose.
Yeah, I don't see a draw being a likely outcome.
Yeah, I think 2 and 4 as well.
I shouldn't have gone first because you all have copied me. If I'd said 5 and 1, you all would have gone with me. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe the person does it at the end then.
Yeah.
We'll do Chef now.
Okay, so Chef goes last. I think your experience with the list, you've won a tournament with it before. I think you'll go 4-1-1.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, so it's you should have like written them down or something, and then like held them up or something.
I think you're gonna go 5-1.
Oof. Fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Sebastian.
Well, I was gonna say. Well, I was gonna do the same thing as
you're 4-1-1 as well.
4-1-1.
Okay, Chef, what do you think you'll do?
4-1-1. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think you're way too generous, Mayor.
I don't know. I think you surprised yourself. I don't know. I think it's a very balanced, well balanced list. So
I'm going to end up coming up against Sebastian in like some terrible scenario and getting wiped off the board. I can see it a mile off.
But I think also with your list, Chef, I think you can sometimes just grind people out. Like, I think you've got enough might and you've got like some really high quality warriors. I think as long as you don't get swarmed and people like don't start to trap you, I think your list can just hold out for a really long time. And like, yeah, as you said with Legless, you got the bow as well. So I think 4-1-1 or 5-1 is pretty fair.
It's very, very much depending on how you use the might. You got to be very sensible with it because the fact you get to regenerate with gambling is massive, and having the heroic move roll off that your opponent kind of needs to counter because you've got so many thrown weapons in the list means that you're just going to burn their might that way. Yeah, you can grind them down. I agree.
Okay, right. Let's do Sebastian next.
I'll go first, and I think it'll be a 3-3.
Oh,
because I think there are a lot of games that could be swingy, but a lot that could also swing your way. So yeah, and you're quite experienced as a player, but you've also not played this style of list necessarily very much. So yeah, that's where that decision came from.
Yeah. Chef, how do you reckon he'll do?
I'm going to go 4-2 because I think any scenarios where you're straight into combat is going to be a struggle. But you got enough models there. What is it, 26? You say you've got enough shots. Yeah, and an experienced enough player. Yeah, I'm going to go 4-2.
Okay. I'm going to go 3-1-2. I was actually going to say 3-2-1 just because it's pleasing to say in that order, but I think you will play well, but I think you're also not that good at rolling dice. Like I've watched you roll. I've watched you roll a lot of dice, and like I've seen like I remember when you brought that all monster list to the Christmas event, and you literally just rolled like absolute trash, and it meant you couldn't win the game. So I think your unfortunate dice rolling skills may hold you back in this case.
Well, I'm gonna guess that I'm gonna go 2-4.
You're gonna do better than me. Come on.
I think unfortunately, the way that the list is designed, it's going to fold to those scenario games, and because basically every scenario now has an extra couple of objectives in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that will make it very difficult to commit to combat, and although there are a lot of models, there are no spears, no banners, and if I lose a combat, I'm basically dead because they are defense 3, so literally everything in the game is killing me. I'm at 50-50. So I think 2 and 4 is gonna be my prediction.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit pessimistic. I think your shooting has the potential to just win you some scenarios before they even really get going. Like I think that, and also like I think there may be some players who just kind of freak out when they see how many bows you have and just like maybe make some misplays and stuff like that, because it will be quite a hard list to play against, I think.
Yeah, but like, I mean, looking at some of the lists that are available for viewing on the Longshanks page, you know, I can see a Ministerious list with 29 models of Boromir, so that everything is defense 6 pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a 35 model Dwarf Khazad-dûm list, so that would be pretty awful to play against.
Yeah.
You know, like Theodred's Guard's pretty scary with 35 models. You know, like I think there's just a lot that I would struggle against, and even a list with the Fellowship. There's a Breaking of the Fellowship list here.
Yeah.
I think all hero lists, like although I'm playing as elves, I think that's actually kind of a weakness because your fight value is kind of made more redundant by like those fight 6 models, and yeah, it could be an interesting one. But I think if I get lucky with the shooting, then that would definitely help.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, and then I guess we come to Mare. Chef, I'm going to come to you for your prediction first. How do you think Mare's going to do?
5-1,
Ooh,
I reckon.
Wow.
Okay. Sebastian, how do you reckon he'll do?
I was also going to say 5-1 because I think that one scenario with the killing one, I think you will fall short on, and by no fault of your own. I think it's pretty likely you'll win the other scenarios. Remind me, did you say you had the scribe in your list? Not?
I do have the scribe, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think especially with the treasure pieces, that's going to be quite helpful.
Yeah, I say 5-1 begrudgingly as well. There's no joy in my heart at saying a Goblin Town list is going to go 5-1. Nothing against there, just Goblin Town. Can't stand it.
Yeah, I think you've all been too generous. I was thinking 4-2, mainly because I think I've actually so after the GBHL 90 where you got to veto, we did another tournament that was a weekend tournament, and 6 games. One of the scenarios was the killing scenario, which I lost naturally to a Dragon Emperor, and the other that I lost was a mirror match against Goblin Town on Fog of War, which via a miscommunication, my opponent had gone for a terrain piece that I didn't think that we were allowing, and therefore I lost that one. So I think it would be, if I'm hoping, at least 4 wins, which sounds really arrogant, but you never know. And maybe 5, but I think 4-2 is I'll be happy with.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty reasonable. I was about to say, like, is it worth us going through any of this? But there's only like 3 or 4 lists available, aren't there? There aren't that many that have been posted up.
No, I was just looking, and it's pretty much the ones that I mentioned. Are the ones that are. Although there is a Candish one as well. There's a
I saw the chariots.
Yeah, I've played against Tom Wilson.
Really?
Both times I've been to Worcester. The last 2 times I've been to Worcester. I played against him.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked at the Khazad-dûm list from Ben Taylor?
Yeah.
he always brings interesting lists. I mean, Dwarf King and Ballista.
Yeah. Shield Bearer.
Yeah, Shield Bearer.
I like the Shield Bearer. I actually made a fun list before I committed to the Mirkwoods. I was like, what would 600 points of Khazad-dûm look like? Because I do have them. And I was like, right, 4 vulnerable teams: King's Champ, Dwarf King, and Shield Bearer, and I had about 33 or 34 models. And I was like, actually, this is pretty strong. But I think just the fear of the the short movement in objective scenarios made me go for the elves instead.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty solid list. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have taken the dwarf list though.
Mm-hmm.
I would have definitely put a few more warriors in the shield bearers warband. But I think the 3 heroic combats of them is actually pretty strong.
Yeah, it could be legit. In that case, as we don't have any like actual lists to go off, I'll just throw out, like, are there any lists that you think will do particularly well and maybe benefit from the what's it called, the addition of the like master burglar rule? You think there's any list that, like, if you see them across the table, you're like, oof, this is a rough one?
I think immediately any horde armies stand out. That's usually the case with any scenario objective. Any objective-based scenarios. I think cav armies could be interesting. I know you're going to have to dismount, right, to pick up the treasure, but I think that could be problematic. I look at that from the perspective of my list, right? I've got March, but really I don't want to be committing any decent amount of troops away from the formation. Whereas I think someone like Mayor can afford to send a whole warband off just to go and try and grab that objective, which is very hard to counter.
Yes,
I think Easterlings for me, because or Gondor, where you've got a medium to high number of models, high defense, enough movement to get up. So for Eastlings, if you've got a war drum, turn one, you're going to be right up there. Maybe even like Uglug Scouts or something where you've got really good movement with a march, because getting in front of those hordes of gold is going to be important, and then getting into melee is going to be important to keep your opponent away. Most of them are objective scenarios, so again, movement and numbers is going to be important. I think Goblin Town fall down a little bit on their movement, unless you've got a captain or two. Like you're going to struggle to beat your opponent to the middle. That's my thoughts on it.
Does it say on the description of the treasures where the treasures are placed?
I assume Lian will put them on the table. They'll probably both be equidistant, but you're right, it's not clear.
Because if they are like in, sort of like retrieval or something like that, where they are sort of behind your line anyway, that would be an interesting one, because I think, or if they were right in the center line, I think that would be really difficult.
It just says each game there will be 2 piles of treasure set up on the board, so they're already there. So I guess Lian could. I mean, if I were doing it, I wouldn't put them both on the center line. I would put them a little bit, maybe like 6 inches each way. I wouldn't do it really deep into their territories, because then I think it's basically becomes storm the camp, and everyone hates that. So, I think a little bit each way, not on the center line, would be a good idea.
I think, as we've already highlighted, though, like these kind of if they are quite central objectives, like, do you remember that doubles tournament we went to, Mayor, where there were those like dragon eggs or something in the center?
Yeah.
And that just massively favoured any lists that could get to the centre quickly, like we've been saying, and just hold it. And like, actually, I think we ended up losing a couple of places, didn't we? Because we weren't able to snag a couple of eggs. And like in really tight matchups, which is often what decides these kind of things, especially if you're at, like people who are at 4 wins, 5 wins, whatever, like that, grabbing that extra couple of tournament points could be really important. So it will be interesting to see where they get placed. It will be very impactful to the people who are pushing towards the sort of top end.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, that'll do. I'm excited for it. It should be good. I've been a bit down on MESBG recently, and I'm hoping this will rekindle my my passion for it. But we'll see how we go.
See when you line up against Sebastian.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be Sebastian first game, Mayor second game.
May as well have stayed at home.
No, I was about to say I just won't turn up for day 2. I'll just stay at home and play Legion by myself. Right. I think we'll probably come back after the tournament as well, although depending on how I've done, because if we've done badly, then I'm not turning up for the video. But yeah, I think it will be worth checking in, because actually I think, based on our predictions, I think a couple of us have potential to do quite well, so it might be worth checking in after that one. But yeah, that's all from me, and it's goodbye from everybody else. I'm not going to say their names, I'm just going to let them work it out for themselves.
Bye.
Bye.
For fuck's sake. Okay, cool. Right. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff, or not if you don't want to. And yeah, see you for the next one.